The ACC Championship preview brought to you by the I-80 boys over here. Chris, I'll go ahead and start us off talking about Clemson. Now, this has been a very weird year for Clemson. I don't know what Tyler from Spartanburg is doing, after Dabo Swinney canceled that radio show after last year, realized that was probably not a great idea to do. 9-3. The expanded playoffs, you look at all this, Clemson was supposed to be projected to do a lot of things this year. They ran into a buzzsaw that was Georgia, the first game of the year. They lost that one. Went on, did what they needed to do, recovered. I thought that they recovered and did about what they should have done. Now, as I recall, they lost to Virginia Tech, a few weeks ago. Okay, they weren't supposed to lose that game, whatever have you. The offense has rebounded. I think they've played pretty well. Klubnik has, 29 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, over 3,000 yards. Maffa has been great back there. Williams has been stepping up. He's been their go-to guy in this offense. They've been able to do a lot of great things offensively. The defense, to me, still is good, but I think they've regressed at points this year as well. Still a very good defense, okay? It's hard for me to, when I think of Clemson, not say they don't have a good defense. Here's the problem. South Carolina beat them last week. They have to win this game to even have a shot to get into. Actually, if they win the game, they're in.
Yes.
It's as simple as that, as I recall. If they win the game, they're going to be in. So they have to win this game to get into the playoff. They're playing one of the hottest teams in the country, in their own conference that not a lot of people projected to do very much going into this year in SMU. Again, Chris is going to talk to us about SMU here in a second. This is a very weird spot for Clemson to be in because I feel like they have almost none of the momentum going into this game. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I know their offense obviously has been better, but is the defense going to be good enough to contain SMU in this one? That's the question I have when it matters the most in this game. Can they get this Jennings kid off the field? He's a very versatile athlete when I was digging in and watching him. Chris is going to tell us a little more about that. Chris, let me hear more about these Mustangs.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys before I start this. I have watched SMU play a handful of times this year, so I know we're going to get the knuckle dragger comment in there. You guys don't watch any football, so I'll say it for you now. But as far as SMU goes, man, 11-1. I mean, what a season for SMU this year. A lot of people knew with the schedule that they had, they could potentially win 8 or 9 games this year. They up and did that and won 11, man. So hats off to the Mustangs this year. It's kind of ironic. One of the games I did watch was that loss to BYU. I believe it was like week 2 or week 3. And nobody knew at that point that BYU was, going to do what they did this year and had a pretty decent season. But offensively, man, I'll get some numbers out here first. Averaging 39.2 points per game. That's 5th best in the country. It's pretty damn good. They're 21st in total offense, 48th in rushing offense, and then 31st in passing offense. Now, I will say this, and I think the SMU fans would agree with me. When they decided to make the switch from quarterback Preston Stone to Kevin Jennings after, I think it was the BYU game, this offense took off. I mean, they did. They've erupted. You mentioned it. Jennings is a dual threat guy who's amassed over 3K in yards this season and accounted for over 20 TDs. He's kind of a do-it-all guy back there. Workhorse running back Brashard Smith is well over 1,000 yards as well. He's got 14 touchdowns on the ground. Now, wide receiver, they got 3 guys here, Roderick Daniels, Keyshawn Smith, and then Jordan Hudson. They all have 30-plus catches on the year. And then don't forget about their tight end, R.J. Maryland. This guy's a big dude. He's a stud, got real soft hands. Very good player. He's got 24 catches for almost 400 yards on the year and 4 touchdowns. So this offense, by the way, is very, very balanced. Actually, one of the more balanced teams in the country on the offensive side of the ball. I'm not worried there. As far as the defense goes, they're only giving up 19.8 points per game. They're 28th in total defense. They're 4th against the run, only allowing 95 yards per game. And here's the problem. They're 85th against the pass. So they struggle a little bit against the pass here. Like I said, another thing SMU does do well, they blitz a ton. They get to the quarterback. They rank 12th in the country in sacks. They got 37 of those on the year, Christian. I'm just going to get into this in the prediction side of this. Look, and this is just my thoughts here. I think this, with Miami shit in the bed, Christian, this really threw a wrench in the ACC title game last week. I thought it was going to be Miami and SMU. Obviously, we got Clemson here, but here's the deal. Here's my side. And if you agree with me, give me a thumbs up. If you disagree, let me know down in the comments as to why. But Clemson has lost to anybody with a pulse this year. And I know that's going to piss off the Clemson man, Christian, but hear me out. Number 1, Georgia, at the time, they lost, right? First game of the season. They lost to 8-4 Louisville a few weeks ago. And then they lost to a red-hot South Carolina team here last week by 3. as far as that goes, all their wins are against teams outside of really Pitt, who has 7 wins. Everybody's 500 or below for Clemson. And I'll be honest with you, man, I got to roll with SMU here. SMU has been on fire. They haven't lost in months. And I honestly think they're the better team for the first year, which is crazy in the ACC this year. I think they're going to win the title here, Christian. So give me the Mustangs from SMU 27, Clemson 21.
Yeah, Chris, just like your uncle back in the 80s, you know what I mean? Mustangs are really cool. But, if you're a grown man now and you have a bunch of extra cash laying around, you're probably not going to buy a Mustang. I get it. There's still Mustang clubs and all that shit all over the world. Let me just go ahead and tell you right now, Clemson has no business winning this football game. And I know a lot of people can take that personally, just the way they've played, you know what I mean? Last week and over the last month or so, they've been playing kind of uninspired at times. I feel like, this is a great team at SMU that's very upstart. So to me, the parity that is the ACC this year, I have, and college football for that matter, I've got Clemson in this one, 24, SMU 21.